Normally, when you talk about a game being 15 years old, it sounds like it's archaic and decrepit and horrible. But what it means in the case of an MMO is that we've been developing that game for 18 years. Like, it has been in constant, continuous development with a full dev team for that entire time. So it is the single biggest fantasy world that exists anywhere in the world. EverQuest cannot be touched. It's had over 20 different expansions. There's like, I can't even remember the stats. The stats are ridiculous. How many monsters, how many dragons, how many adventures and quests there are in it. It's just huge. And so when these players, players don't quit these games. They get locked into the games, and the world gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and they might wander off to try a new game, but then they very quickly realize that these new games cannot get the same kind of scope. There's just no way. And so they come back, they try it for a little bit, it feels kind of shallow, and then they come back to these much bigger and deeper games. So both EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 have enormous scope and all kinds of feature depth and really rich communities. Like, the players themselves are helpful. They're friendly to be around. They're just generally good communities, and that's valuable to a player. So yeah, it's very, very good from that perspective.
Yeah, I think just to underline Dave's point, the legacy of EverQuest is what makes all three EverQuest games so strong. I mean, we're building on this foundation, of these players, our players who've been there for 15 years with us. People have gotten married. People have taught their kids to play along with them. People have grown old together playing this game, and they've come with us from EverQuest to EverQuest 2, and they're coming into EverQuest next. And because we view these as long-term games, I mean, we're thinking about a 10-year plan, a 15-year plan. This isn't Call of Duty or something where a new one comes out every year. We get into this for the long haul, and the strategy is about the long haul. EverQuest 1 is still going to be around in 10 years. It's still going to be around in 20 years. EverQuest Next will still be around in 10 or 20 years. And there are very few games that can think that way.
We're designing this to last 20 years or more.
More.
My personal motivations. Okay, well, my personal motivations have always been about bringing something new to the gaming industry. I've done a bunch of games in the past. Like I mentioned before, I've been making games for a long time. But PlanetSide 1, Tribes 2, I worked on a social Flash MMO for Gaia Online. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff that was very original and very new. I like bringing new experiences to the gaming industry. And luckily, the team that we've assembled for this is all of that same mind. So we don't want to just make the same old game again. Lots of people do that. Heck, a lot of us have done that. Like, we've been on those projects before, and we don't really want to do that. We want to bring something that's positive, something that's fresh, something that's original, and something that people can get involved in on a social aspect on a level that people don't normally get into. So that's what motivates us personally. And the EverQuest franchise is strong for that because it's an original IP, so we don't have to worry about restrictions from, say, like a licensor or something like that. We can do whatever we want to with this IP. We fully own it. And there's millions and millions and millions of people that have played EverQuest 1 and EverQuest 2 over the years that they've been out. So all of those people are kind of like an audience that's sitting there waiting for something cool. So if we can provide that to those people as well as to other audiences, like the ones that might be attracted to Landmark and some of the other aspects of the game, the potential for a huge critical ball of people is enormous. And if we get that kind of critical mass into the game, along with all these original ideas, we get something special.
And I think, for me, there are two major things. The first is, and I think this is true for a lot of the folks on our team and a lot of the folks out there, EverQuest was my first MMO. It was the first time I'd ever experienced anything like that. It was amazing. So the opportunity to come and work on a new version of EverQuest was irresistible. And honestly, the second reason that I was very excited is actually this man. When I came in and started talking to folks, I was looking for the next project I wanted to work on, and I started talking to Dave about it. And Dave, as you can tell, his enthusiasm, he's not good at hiding it at all. And you can tell when someone really believes in what they have. And Dave, who couldn't tell me anything about it at the time because I wasn't working for Sony, it was so obvious and so infectious and so clear that everything he just said, that I made the decision right there. I had to come.